I salute you. I put a hole in every nigga try to shoot you. It ain't nothing but loyalty is what I'm used to. And what I don't do, I have what a bunch of do. Nigga, I'm ready for combat. A soldier on the front line. Take to the streets, nigga, motherfucker punchline. It only take one time for you to send a death threat and watch you bullet had that ass singing like Keith Sweat.
I've been bushes 50 cause them niggas all pussy. Convoy. No surrender, no retreat. I done couldn't cook for the team.
Only niggas that been on the battlefield know what I mean. Take cover, we coming, pulling pins out of grenades.
You won't make it to the general without getting sprayed.
Might as well say hello to my brand new little friend.
Only time you come out to put holes in grown men.
Send your troops and get them all blow back. Walk up on them with a deuce and nigga.
General, I salute you. I put a hole in any nigga try and shoot you. It ain't nothing cause loyalty is what I'm used to. And what I don't do, I have one of my troops do.
Nigga will kill you, general. I salute you. I put a hole in any
young investor salute. Loyalty is what I'm used to. And what I don't do, I have one of my troops do.
Look, nigga, I suggest you go home because I won't
hesitate to let the chrome touch you.
Nigga, I'm never scared like
bone crusher.
Stand alone, provide my
own supper. So your baby mama stop coming around here. Lames around you and get shot for free like you flagrant fouled you.
I'm on the road blowing
grade A haze and brown. KKK's around. And New Year's approaching.
My buzz getting bigger.
A few ears is open. You there to coach him? Pool in the ocean. Bank head bounce. Bank's head bounce. Cause all you gotta do is I salute you. I put a hole in any nigga trying to shoot you. It ain't nothing cause loyalty is what I'm used to. And what I don't do, I have one of my troops do.
Nigga will kill you, general. I salute you. I put a hole in any nigga trying to shoot you. It ain't nothing cause loyalty is what I'm
used to.
And what I don't do, I have one of my troops do. Nigga will kill you. It's like a storm. If you get it, you can't get out. So this is figuring the life right here, you know what I'm saying? We used to sell drugs, you know, first drugs and all that, and now I'm laid back, man. Ain't doing us. 50 got us right, we got us kicked up.
Yo, 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 it's your boy, the insurance junkie, your fiduciary fella, the all-star advisor, Alonzo Hall. And today, I got something special for y'all. It's another episode of Husbands United because I have obviously been seeing some stuff go on in these spaces and I've been keeping quiet about it, but some things kind of went on. One big thing that went on was last night, shout out and salute to my man's Walt Diddy. He went in and, you know, he's not the type to really get too much mixed up in the nonsense and the messiness of these YouTube streets, nor am I. But sometimes you just kind of got to let stuff out. You know, one of the things that kind of made me realize that She Salute was going on. I'm gonna drop the link in a little while because I think I could drop the link to let some fellas come up and you know, kind of get in there. I think she's talking about he's seen it at the end of Walt Diddy. He definitely went on a tirade, man. And, you know, it's necessary. You know, I was actually a part of what made me really want to go live as well today was actually watching Sheep Say Sleep. He was out there talking about a lot of important stuff, you know, talking about dudes being mad about married men and saying, oh, we trying to make y'all simps and, you know, oh, what about my resources? I got to keep my resources. And it's like, well, what are those resources for, right? So the reason that I have this video entitled the way I have it is because my brother-in-law and I were having a conversation and he was talking to me about, you know, my quote unquote honey-do list, which is shit around the house that needs to get done that your wife may remind you of, because as men, Sometimes we'll see some shit there that maybe needs fixing or something, and I'm comfortable. I ain't really worried about it, but it's annoying the shit out of her. So she says something to you, and as the protector and provider, that's part of the protection that you provide. See, that's part of that provision. We got to realize that being a man and being a husband, part of the provision portion of things is not just going out there and getting a paycheck. Hold up. It's not just going out there and getting a paycheck, right? And then bringing some money back home. I had to go and cam up for this. It's not just getting a paycheck and coming home, right? It's reality of, damn, you know what? The trash is full. Well, let me provide protection by making sure that my family, my household is comfortable by taking out the trash. Now, that's a small thing. You think, oh, that's some simp shit. He's just taking out the trash. You pussy whipped. Really? Well, look at the protection you provide by taking out the trash. One, you take out the trash, there's that eyesore of the trash being there, possibly smells, possibly things like rodentia and roaches that you can have in your house from having the nasty ass trash just sit there. But you're busy not thinking that that's manliness or provision. That's part of provision. You're providing a safe environment for your family, right? You see it? It's a safe environment for your family. Now your family is comfortable. Well, how are they comfortable? Because they ain't got that trash. That's just a small thing. So on my honey-do list, the wife, she wanted me to mount the TV. And actually, well, my room is a little dirty right now, but I'll show you. It's a 55-inch. I got two of them, right? So there's the box, right? And I'm not stunting like I'm rich and all that on my, what is this, $15,000 mattress in my bedroom and all that. I got debt and all that too. But the reality of it is, yes, I just decided to splurge and buy a brand new TV. That's the old one, that's the new one. And the wife said, well, since you bought the brand new fucking TV, I don't want it to sit on the dresser. I'd like to have my dresser to be able to put stuff up there. And you know what part of my responsibility as a husband is to mount the TV so that I can provide that protection of comfort so my wife can be comfortable and feel protected and provided that I've given her a space to put her damn fucking perfume on the damn dresser. And I'm sorry, I got emotional about that, but I really had to get that out because that was some very important stuff, right? It's mind numbing to see what's going on with, inside this space that's supposed to be, dominated by men who are trying to do things. And we've got men in our 40s, 50s, and 60s running around crying about bitches. And then we've got dudes who are 29 and under who are looking to be impressed upon, right? I told y'all about the embarrassment that I had when I had to sit down with a black man who I used to look up to. When I was younger, this dude used to drive around in Jaguars. He used to wear $1,500 ostrich shoes, fucking custom made suits. He had the look, but he didn't have everything else in there. I'd love to bring up, actually, I was having a conversation with a client of mine, and y'all may know him from these spaces. You might be familiar with him. He has been on Edward Anderson's panel. Dude by the name what is it? Laser Panda, Marty McFly, right? So Marty McFly is Laser Panda, and Laser Panda is a dude who has women and all these things, and he has the options, right? One of the things he says that pisses him off about men in these spaces is they talk about these women who are going to gold dig them, yet they have no gold to dig. The only digging they're doing is up their noses, right? Why? Because men are at their apex. You want to be a passport, bro? Cool. You could be a passport, bro, when you can afford that. See, if you can afford to be a passport, bro, you can afford to get primo American chicks too, right? So if you can afford primo American chicks, maybe you don't like what's here, then you have the option to go abroad. But a lot of these dudes are just sitting at home as, what is it called, involuntary celibates, right? Because according to what I've heard in this space, everybody has 45 houses and 300 cars. Everybody's making six figures. So then it can't be the money that's the problem, right? So is this why we're all running around talking about, oh, the women's attitude? The women's attitude. You can mount it, you can hold it steady, but you can't do both, right? So that's what I told my brother-in-law about the TV. I was like, yo, I'm gonna need your help, bro, because I'm trying to mount this TV. And I was like, I can mount it or I can hold it steady, but I can't do both. That's what she said. The ones that aren't doing the work seem to be the ones complaining and enriching some of these content creators in this space. You see what I'm saying? We got a bunch of folks who are, doing wild mess and running around, and these super chats are popping. People are talking, yo, you should see the money I'm making off of these super chats. What are you giving to the people in this space off of these super chats, right? No disrespect, but we got folks running around calling themselves master teacher. That's a heavy title to hold, BGS. I don't mind saying you can. He already knows what the deal is with me. There's no disrespect, but it is what it is. If I'm gonna talk about you, I'll say your name here, there, anywhere. It's recorded. If you're gonna call yourself or be called a master teacher, you must teach. Right? A lot of I haven't consumed a bunch or enough of your content to know, but from what I've seen, you haven't taught. It is what it is. So, with that being said, where do we go from here, right? Because the idea is to find solutions. So the solution is for people like myself to continue to do more stuff like this. For people like Sheep Stay Sleep to continue to do his thing and inspire people like me to come live. For people like She to continue to bounce around in all these spaces and introduce us to all these other people, because there's people out there we can actually help. One of the things that ended up hurting me real big time was, so I stumbled upon the space meeting Kevin Samuels, or seeing Kevin Samuels. And he was, I instantly became a fan when I saw him. Why? Because if you know me, normally right now I'm, wolfing, I'm haven't cut my hair and all that. And normally I have that, prim and proper look because I'm in sales. And I like to wear suits and ties. If you ask about me in Brooklyn, well, first of all, you're gonna have to ask my nickname on the street, which is Snoop. But if you ask about Snoop in Brooklyn, they're gonna be like, oh, that suit and tie ass nigga. That's what they know me as, the suit and tie ass nigga. Because I'm generally always in a suit and tie. In the hood, while they shooting dice in East New York, you're gonna see me in East New York with a suit and tie on, right? Or you see me in Brownsville with a suit and tie on, right? And folks who know me and know me in Brooklyn know that's the truth, right? So that image, I immediately fell for that image. He had the banker's fade. He was talking about expensive luxury items. And initially, he kind of had some information for men and self-help. It's like, okay, cool. Then, after average at best, I definitely had to stop. He said BGS never asked to be called that. People call him that. That's fair enough. So then he may have been teaching people. Like I said, I haven't consumed enough of his content to know. Just keeping it all the way 1,000. You know what I mean? That's the only way I can be, is me. But so I had that fall for Kevin Samuels, but now I'm like, bro, first of all, you're doing a video with Future, who you dissed. But now I understand, if you're doing music videos with Future, oh, you're just in it for the business of it and the entertainment. Get your money, no problem. But don't call yourself, doing this relationship stuff and you're impressing upon impressionable young men. An agent that I recruited was like, yeah, well, I watch Kevin Samuels and the Manosphere and stuff, but I'm not in a relationship. Whoa, slow down. That's what actually inspired me to start Husbands United, right? Husbands United is about the manhood of being a man who's masculine, a father, all those things, right? And as a man, you got to realize something. And there's a content creator who I was watching who said this, and personally, I think it makes the most sense. Every woman in my life is under my covering. So what does that mean? My mother, my daughter, my sister, my cousins, my aunt, my grandmother, my wife. Those women, those are mine, and I protect them. No, that doesn't mean that I have to put my life on the line, but little things like taking them out, etc. We have to continue to do that. He says this is going to be a new channel or a series. I haven't decided yet, Michael. Right now, it's just something random. For the most part, this isn't really the type of channel that was super coordinated. I really had just, kind of put out information. I may just create create a totally new channel for rants and raves. Keep this to rant and rave, and then do something else for my financial. I might do that just because this series actually is kind of lit, and it will allow the opportunity for things like bringing up husbands, etc., bringing up manhood, because realistically, we have to realize you can mount, you can hold it steady, but you can't do both. And a lot of guys are looking to do both, right? But if you're mounting the TV, right, a 60-inch TV to the wall, you got to put it right there, right? You got to hang it. But you also have to, when hanging it and coordinating it with this bar, you have to hold it and be able to see. That's why they tell you it's a two-person job. So you can mount it by putting it physically on the bar, or you can hold it steady, which would be the second person. But you can't do both. So as men, we have to realize you can be a real all the way man, or you can do this quasi manhood stuff where it's just, oh, I'm bringing home a paycheck. Submit to me, right? Just because you bring home a paycheck doesn't make you worthy of submission. It means that you're paying for shit, but that's not provision, right? Paying dollars does not mean provision. Let me explain to you why, because it's just like being able to buy things or being able to afford things. Give me 1 second here. We got a guest. Just like being. Yo, what's going on, brother? How are you? Yo, what's going on, brother? All right. Before you go in, anyway, I want to finish this statement. It's just like being able to afford things versus being able to buy things, right? I got a homeboy. He's got a BMW. He can buy that BMW, but his monthly car payment is $500. Guess how much his insurance is? $500. Guess how much it costs to get that car fixed? $500. So if he pays the $500 to get that car fixed, he either can't pay the $500 for the car insurance, which means he can't have that car on the road, or he either can't pay that $500 for that car note, which means somebody's going to take that car from him. So you got to be able to afford that luxury car, not just buy it, right? You can buy it and stunt for 3 months until the repo man comes, or you can do what you got to do. So K Mac, you having some technical difficulties. I'm gonna drop you to the back for a second, and come back up when you're handled that. All right. So, as I was saying, we're looking at a situation here where, as men, the only way we can really have agency is to create it for ourselves. And ironically enough, even though I was just talking about BGS not teaching, he did at least give some tidbits of information. And one of the best things he did was he said a lot of people would take that 3 months of stunting. One of the things he did say was this: if there's something lacking that you don't like in this space, Don't cry about it, create it. He didn't say it exactly that way, but he did say basically create your space. So I may have to do such. Okay, Mac, you back? Guess not. All right. So let him handle those technical difficulties, and I'm gonna keep it going. What I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna drop the link, and if anybody wants to come up and say anything in terms of, you know, it is basically an open panel, but I'm trying to restrict this to husbands or family minded individuals, right? And when I say family minded, some people don't like the traditional idea of marriage or what have you. Let's see, how do I do this? I want to invite. Here we go. All right, so now the links in the chat. Anybody want to come up? Come up, and I'm gonna drop off of this camera real quick because I'm gonna go get me a snack, and I don't want my wife on camera. Right? Um, but it's just, man, so many things have just been pressing buttons and making it very difficult to maintain normalcy. We can't have men in these spaces teaching our young men just to be BS, right? I got nephews, right, who may consume this content one day. And, I don't want my nephews running into some BS, bumping their head into the wall, being afraid to get involved with women. Because again, these guys are so worried about somebody taking their resources. But what are you getting the resources for, right? It's just like me as a financial professional, right? A lot of people will tell you, oh, hoard, 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 and save your money and put it in the stock market. Well, the reason that you make money or preserve capital is to fucking spend it on what you want, right? So it's the same thing with these guys. Oh, I'm getting all this money. I'm saving all this money. Well, what are you saving it for? There's only so much you can spend. And until you get to certain levels, when you get to certain levels, you realize that a lot of money ain't a lot of money. All right. Um, for example, a lot of people want to get to six figures, right? Until people, when you make 100 grand and you find out 100 grand ain't shit, right? Then you say, well, I want to make 150 grand. And then you make 150 grand and your checks come back less than what the fuck you made at 100 grand. Mm. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Yo, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
All right, cool. How you doing, man?
I can't complain.
That's what's up. Oh man. So where we at? Where we at with this right now? My bad for earlier. Ugh.
You good? So basically, I was just explaining, you know, the issues that I'm having with the manosphere. Um, and it's funny as shit because you called it when I first entered the space, but you didn't like it, and it's a lot of bitch assness going on. And what I mean by that is you got a lot of guys out here who are misleading. You know what I'm saying? And for example, dudes are giving crazy ideas in terms of how dating and mating works. Don't date a single mother, which personally I wouldn't do, but I don't discourage a nigga from doing so. You know what I mean?
No, I
Um,
hear you. I mean,
my fault. I,
hey,
I got some munchies.
yeah, I'm trying to be like you, but nah, I dig it, bro. Like, I don't know nothing about these um manosphere people. I don't know nothing about them. I heard a couple of things. Maybe I listened to one video. That's it. Like, I don't know. It's I'm of the belief I can't talk about what another person do when they what another man do in his bedroom with his significant other. You know, there's a lot of there's a lot of these uh people. Hell, remember $33 man?
Mm-hmm.
Prime example.
$33
$33
man
man,
is a
right?
perfect example
Perfect
of
example.
what's going on around here. These guys are running around crying, talking about I'm the man, my child is my heart, this, that, and the third, child support. The woman's a witch. She's evil. She's trying to take all my money and spend it on hair weave, and you paying $33 a month, homeboy.
Like how you do that? How I want somebody to explain that. Like you bring a kid into this world, you don't see them, you don't interact with them. You meet somebody else, they have kids, and you take care of their kids. Because I see that a lot.
Yeah.
Like and I see a lot of people complain about the stepdaddy roles, but it be it be whole fathers, grown ass men, have two, three kids, running running to do whatever, buy the new Xbox Series X or S for their stepkids and leave their kids out here. But then, I mean, this whole what is it? You can mount it. You can you can mount it or you can hold it steady, right? I
Mm-hmm.
love that shit on both. I love that shit for two reasons. Because on one side of it, you know what I mean, everybody wants to, you know what I mean, wants to mount something, blase blase. My wife come, yeah, I'm trying to pipe her down, tell her hold it steady. Let's get it. Let's get this money.
Big fact.
Let's go.
Nah, that's a fact, man.
That's what you're supposed to do. That's you know what I mean. What the older generation was talking about foundations.
Big facts.
There's none of that shit now.
Man, let me tell you, I got dudes that I done sat with here in this space who talk about, let's talk about mounting it and holding it steady. Mounting it would be getting the women, holding it steady
Hmm.
would be getting their life in order. So the women that they actually want would do what it seems like we want in this space. It seems like what the men want is they want they want to be chose like they're bad bitches. They want the women to be like, you're the one. I need you. I need to fall in line and be under your program. I want to cook and clean and rub your feet and suck your dick every day. Women will do that if you're the man that deserves that. And the man that deserves that is going to carry himself a certain way because other men are going to respect him. Other men are going to
Man,
be like reverence to him,
I don't know because
right?
we're in a different space now. Like yo, like to be an upstanding male, you know what I mean? To be a positive role model, male influencer. You know what I mean? It's it's like that shit sets you back, you know, 20, 30 fucking years. Well, no, 40, 50 fucking years, right? Because I have this little girl in the room. You know what she looks up to? She don't look up to, to what a man is supposed to be. She looks up to um NBA young boy.
Mm-hmm.
Know what I mean? Oh, I can't wait. What she said something along the line of I wish I could meet one of these new fucking rappers. I don't know. Wish I could meet such and such, you know what I mean, and ride with him and da 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 da. Like this is what they're looking. This is what they look to. Like when I was growing up, like yeah, we looked up to Snoop and not you, but we looked up to Snoop, Pac, you know what I mean, Big, you know, G Dep, all of that, you know what I mean? Hell, 2000, early 2000, we looked up to 50-50. What's that man?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? What Mike Tyson said, everybody tough until they get punched in their face. Like, if you're going to do it, you do the 50. Everybody tough until they get shot,
facts.
right? Like, we have
Well, we know about
we have to
that.
be
Yeah, you know what I mean. We have to do better. We really have to do better in setting an example that the younger generation wants to follow. Like I see another show. Somebody was talking about I just a podcast. Somebody talking about, well, yeah, all the women is here for, they're just here to do what I want. Like I got this chick, I got this chick. All I do is pipe her. She give me money. Like that's some real lame shit if you ask me. This one, I pipe her. I done ate up all her kids' food and whatnot. Laughing about this shit on it. I'm like, wow. Like, and then everybody else, the other guys that was on this little podcast, they're laughing and they're like, yeah. Like, yo, fuck it. You know what I mean? If I got a bitch, excuse my French, if I got a bitch, then she's gotta be 130 pounds. She gotta be 130 pounds. You know what I mean? You gotta be under 5'5". Like all this, like if you a big bitch, then fuck you. I ain't fucking no bitch over that's 180 pounds, or you know what I mean? Do you work? Nah, I don't work, man. You know what I do. I'm on the block all day. Word, really? So what do you? So you on the block? What you do on the block, bro? You know I'm getting it. Word, how you getting it? I'm getting it. How? You know I can't say it. All right, so you can get, so you getting it. You can get taken off the street, and then you got kids, right? Yeah. I got six.
Mm.
Or same baby mother. Nah. Six babies, six different baby mothers. All right, shit. All right, cool. I see why you not working.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, that's why you ain't working, right? No. You know, I ain't working because you know I'm getting it on the block. So what happens if you get locked up? What happens if you get knocked? Huh?
He don't got an answer for getting locked up.
Like, so what's up? Like, I want to know this answer. Like, what's the answer? You get knocked? You know what I mean? Do you see your kids? Do you call them? Because that's another thing. A lot of people talk this shit. A lot of people talk about, oh, I gotta do it on my job. I got. Yeah, I don't know. This shit just sound funny. I don't even want to say because I would never say no shit like this. But he was like, I got baby fever now. You know, seeing your son, I got baby fever. Like, all right,
Who might
you
have kids?
you got baby fever. I'm like, yo, bro, you know what, like for you know what comes with this? Like, this ain't easy. I'm up 1 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning. Hell, you know you up that time too, putting out, making your content, editing
Hell
your
yeah.
content and whatnot. Like, you feel me? Like, I don't know. I think when people try to live off the idea they had when they was younger. Everybody had the idea of the chick that they wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what they was going to do in their life. Some people wanted to be a rapper. Some people wanted to
Facts.
be actors. You know what I mean? So I mean, some people had. Not saying those are not realistic, but some people had realistic goals. Of, all right, I just want to drive a train. I'm more likely to listen to the person that wants to drive a train or a truck or whatever than I am to listen to a person that think they're going to make it as a rapper.
Hey.
Especially a person that's been doing it for, let's say you've been doing it for past 15, 20 years and you still been putting, not saying that it can't happen, but it hasn't happened.
Right.
When is enough enough? You know?
Listen, man. Salute to Gold P in the building. But yeah, man, it's a difficult task, bro. And I think, like I said, if we have more stuff like this, we can also allow stuff like when nephew is coming up, he comes across some content, right?
Uh-huh.
And for example, I'd rather have him come across a video like this than across the infamous "Shut the fuck up" video. You remember that?
Yo. Yeah, I
Right?
mean, you know,
But
listen, if it's just an entertainment, then yeah, cool. By all means, we all need, everybody need a laughter here and there. But if this is just what is it, barbershop talk? You want to say, or street talk?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
No, I feel you.
Hold on for a minute.
Using that technology, huh?
Yeah. No, that's the wife. She's away.
Yeah,
I'll be right back.
it'd be like that sometimes, no doubt. But so, what I think we can do to benefit ourselves as a whole is just continue to have these conversations. And it may get a little cyclical as well, but I think we prefer this cyclical to, that of being subjected to a lot of the what I'll call booty chatter, right? Matter of fact, Gold Professor this morning had an excellent stream. And again, it goes to you can mount it, you can hold it steady, but you can't do both, right? And the reason being is because guys have part of the thing control. Gold Professor was talking about something that was really important this morning, hygiene. He was like, yo, fellas, um, what's your bathroom look like? Right? And if you've got a lady coming over, you want to be able to have a nice clean bathroom, smell good. And even for sanitary reasons, man, because, you know, as guys, we don't think about it. You go pee this and splash all over the place. You got, toothpaste stains all over the mirror. That stuff, it adds up, it holds bacteria, and that can just make you sick, right? You go and you go to the bathroom and I'm gonna just splash some water on my face. All right, well, why you splashing that water? You got gangrene all over the sink. You're splashing gangrene all in your face, right? These are things that you have to be. Sorry about that, folks. I don't know what happened. I just removed myself from the stream somehow, clicking on the phone. So apologies. You probably didn't hear the last few words I said. Oh wow, hold on. Um, but yeah, let's see. Here we go. She's in the building. She, what's going on, bro? How are you?
What's going on, man? Yeah, my sound might be going in and out because I'm driving, so but I should be good now, right now, though.
That's all good. I'm actually glad you're up here because I wanted to mention something again about dudes not holding it steady. We we got to look at things like what you did for your sons, right? With something as simple as life insurance, I'm gonna start framing it differently. So maybe this will also help guys to look at it differently. Instead of saying you got life insurance on your sons, I want you to continue to run around saying that you got opportunity funds for your sons.
Yep.
Because all that is an opportunity for mad money.
Yeah. I always break it down two ways. I tell them I got life insurance for my sons, so you know, it's creating their own wealth because, like I told them, when it gets to a certain age, you're gonna start paying your own policy. You
Hmm.
know, and they're gonna be accountable. They're gonna know how to budget. And it's crazy. One of my brothers is actually about to buy them a vending machine, and he's about to, first fund it, buying it. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, he's buying it. He's gonna fill it. He's gonna give them pretty much change and all that to actually get the business off the ground. He's gonna teach them how to, run the machine, when the machine needs stock, pay. He's gonna put a percentage in for them to pay me for gas to go out there and stock the machines, or they gotta stock the machines. Basically, show them like the percentages. Show them their losses, show them their gains. You know, you're gonna be losing because you gotta pay me for gas until you're able to drive yourself. But the gain is the markup on all your candy, chips, or whatever you're selling. You're gonna recoup some of that money back and more. Plus, showing them how to save to where not only just have one, have more. I already have one location that I can put one in because I was actually about to buy one for myself and put it there. But he wants to do it for the boys, so I say, I don't mind. But, the biggest thing, like I say, I'm giving them a sense of direction as far as like me and you when we had our conversation. It's not even just for them to have life insurance to where if anything happens to them, it's actually for them to have life insurance so they can carry it to the next generation. Because when they get adults and they have families, that policy is not term. That policy is universal. So it's carrying over to the family, you know. And even if they don't have family, it's still carrying over to the sum of them putting in money for themselves or just, putting in money to, create a generational wealth for one of their nieces and nephews.
Nah, that's what's up. My fault. I was typing, but that's definitely what's up. I think he said I held steady and mounted a 75-inch monster, but this ain't that show. Now that's something else. That's definitely a different show. But no, see, that's exactly what we're talking about. Sheet stuff like this is what I want to continue to promote, and I think you've done a great job at it. Like you said, when you first came on, that's what you were talking about. What ends up happening is it seems like the conversation gets hijacked and we start going to this dating and mating thing. Um, he said, indeed, 357. So shout out to those brothers in the East and to all the brothers with spiders on their shoulders. And I think it's just a little crazy that we haven't found someone to prop up as a whole, right? Black YouTube or black male YouTube specifically, right? And like I don't know, I just think it's cool that we're able to kind of do this, and as time goes, we'll continue to grow. Matter of fact, I think it was Sir Obadiah who had has a series like evergreen content. Where he was like, you know, it, 5-6 years from now, will somebody be able to look back at your content, or was it just a bunch of bullshit for super chats, right? Um, a lot of the stuff that we're seeing is a bunch of BS for super chats versus trying to teach somebody something or reach somebody somewhere. Prime example, you and I, right? If hadn't I not come out here with something valuable, wouldn't nobody have done business, right? You have Laser Panda, who you and Ra introduced me to, right? Had I been coming here just talking about mating and dating as opposed to just talking about life insurance, that would have never happened, right? He's now a client of mine, right? Stuff like that. Stuff like you being able to have your sons watch my videos. I've got a lot of guys who have told me their kids watch my stuff. So I do try to be cognizant of that. Um, But not every episode is for everything. Um, but even stuff like I have nephews, you know, um, matter of fact, that's my brother, and his son, that's my nephew. I want him to be able to consume this and get something from it, as opposed to him consuming it and be like, "Wow, my uncle and my dad are really mad at women. You know what? I got a chip on my shoulder about women, and I'm not even 12 years old yet." You know what I mean? And that's the dangerous thing that's been going on. Like I said, it's been a bunch of guys between 19 and 25 who are coming up in here and they're getting led astray.
Yeah,
And it's
go ahead.
almost like the men are turning into the women they say they don't want. Because now it seems like, for example, it seems like Kevin Samuels is that 60-year-old woman who's not telling the younger women how to improve their chances of getting a high value man because she wants one, as opposed to high value. Salute, Kareem. Thank you for that. As opposed to that high value man teaching the younger man, hey, listen, here's how you become a high value man, or not even high value, but a productive member of society, and you make it so that you have creature comforts, right? And with your creature comforts, you'll be able to attract that woman. You'll be able to build that family that you're looking to build, right? And I think that's what's missing, and we can't morph into that. Um, but if you got anything, go ahead.
Yeah, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, when it come down to it, man, it's plain and simple. Only reason I actually came into this space, and like I always say this, and every guy, well, not every guy, but majority, well, I don't even say majority, a few guys that I talked to always said that either a woman had some influence in them coming into this space. I always talk about Erica Wood. She talks about BGS with the numbers, the economy. Talking about the guy Richard something from England that does the stats. BGS was big on the stats, so that's why I came followed into his channel. And then she always talked about Anchorman Coach Greg Adams, and relationships and O'Shea. I'm like, okay, I listened to O'Shea before, never really was, he was an okay dude. It wasn't nothing to be, famous about. Because, when I came in, he was more or less on some funny comedy stuff. So I didn't really take it too serious, but just laugh at it and move on. Anchorman was pretty decent, but I just couldn't get over the fact every time I turn around it was Scrag this, Hyena that. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I mean, he ain't got no old lady. Then when he got an old lady, I'm like, I don't know. Then Greg Adams, I never really got into that guy. You know, there was just something about, him that I just could like fix myself to keep listening to his content. So, I listened to it a couple of times and I was like, maybe it's just me. Like he's probably not for me, And that's the thing when it comes to some people, your message res with people and sometimes it don't. So, but the space in general, man, in my opinion, a lot of guys are over here letting off some steam. Now, to the extent how much steam they let off, or what impression they sitting on the next generation, in my opinion, is horrible at times. But they're giving good information. But the point of it is, it gets diluted when you have someone that they call red pill rage going off on a panel, and the guys who's actually been through it to actually understand it and get around. The whole thing is the red pill is actually supposed to be about the knowledge. It's not supposed to be about the rage. It's just supposed to be simply about the knowledge. You figure out what's going on and you move accordingly. Yeah, you're gonna have some type of feel about it because of the way you was treated. But the point is now what are you gonna do? Are you gonna move the same? Or are you gonna move with intent? And a lot of guys they lose focus on now I know the knowledge. What am I actually gonna do from now? That's my biggest part when it comes to this space. You know, the young guys who actually know they're supposed to be helping. Like, I mean, honestly, you got guys. I always get on this one guy. He talks about baby mama issues. This guy literally got two kids from two different women. So you can't say you was in this space, got a second child, and you're mad at the outcome, but you forgot about the first outcome you had. Like, no, get out of here. You want your cake and eat it too, and you get mad at the results when they don't come in your favor. I mean, just like Jay Sean said it best. You know, guys who still get caught up in child support nowadays, you a fool. I done seen my friends go through it, uncles go through it, understanding. You know, it's not a one shot all guarantee that you're not gonna get caught up like that, but using protection and all that stuff doesn't work every single time. But I mean, come on, man. Like, honestly, like, watch the women who you deal with for one. You know, anybody can just hit a random. I can go hit random chicks, but the point of it is finding a decent chick to where if you do have a child by mistake, you won't have an issue. I know an older cat. He had a chick in college. It was a one night stand. She told him she didn't believe in abortion. He was like, "Cool, all right, let's set it up." He got the test, found out it was his. He was like, "All right, no problem, let's go." We parent it out, but that don't mean we gotta be together. You know, when his daughter was born, he was there, gave gifts. You know, he'd always call, talk to her, go up and see her every now and then. You know, he was a long distance father, but you know that didn't take away from him being a man, sending money every now and then, going to see her because they were in different states. You know, the point of reference was it didn't stop him from being a man. You know, he knew his obligation, his responsibility. He didn't even have to get put on child support. That was the crazy part about it. He gave the money. You know, it was sometimes she wanted a little more money. That was a discussion to be made, but that was it. Other than that, she could have easily put him on child support, and then, you know, she would have just got what she got. But the point of reference is, you know, he didn't fight no kind of way. I mean, we have guys that automatically, when you hear that the girl's pregnant, first thing they say, "Oh man, that ain't my baby." And for the guys that do praise and say they having a baby, and they get taken to the cleaners, it's because of the chick you dealt with. You know she had those tendencies before you dealt with her and got her pregnant, and it was just a smash and that. I mean, that's like when pumping it up, it goes wrong.
No, you're absolutely right about that. Guys got to realize just because it looks good don't mean it is good, right? And at the end of the day, we do tell women, you know, you got to choose better. Stop choosing Pookie and Ray Ray, for lack of a better term. But you know, dudes can't be choosing Sharkeisha neither, right? Just because she got a big old jiggly jiggly booty, or you know, she got a nice rack and everything, and you know, she got chocolate skin, and you know, it's soft to the touch, and you know, she moans just right, and every time you smack her, she does that little that turns you on. That's cool, but I know I'm very descriptive, right? But in all that, you can also realize that she might be a crazy chick, right? Quiet as kept, man. I had this one chick who I'm glad I didn't, but she was like, "Yeah, I know you want to get me pregnant." I was like, "No, chick, you crazy." Every time I turn around, she's fighting another female. I don't want my baby mama running around fighting another female. That means that's going to be an impression you're leaving on my child. So, you know, all that glitters isn't gold. It was good for a night stroke, but I had to be careful to not erupt. But go ahead, Chronicle. What's going on, brother?
Uh, oh, my bad. Apologies. But let me jumping in on this. Yeah, I wouldn't want no. I wouldn't want anybody that's out there that's for the streets. We grew up. Those. I have homegirls that are out that were the baddest. I'm gonna say it like that. And they went from being the baddest in their looks to just doing bad now because their looks didn't get them nowhere. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I have, like we was talking about earlier. You know what I mean? I know people that started trying to rap and do all this when they was in their teens, and it still hasn't got them nowhere. I mean, my thing is, and I told you, my thing is, whatever I do, if I can make something out of anything that I put, my time and effort into, I want to just pass that on to people. Like the most valuable thing that I'll give a person, and I said this to a couple people that I was training at my job, is my time. Something that I don't get back. You know what I mean? Something that keeps going after I'm long gone. We have to be careful what we put out here. We have to be careful what we put out into this world. You know what I mean? I'm trying to put out good deeds and inspiration. I'm trying to get back positivities and good vibes. Hell, I've been shot once. I don't want that shit to happen again. Was it my fault? No, it wasn't. Is it karma? Yes, it's definitely karma. Ugh. These podcasts that these videos that you do, that you put out, and you're trying to educate people on how to build generational wealth and whatnot. That's what we need. That's what the world needs. Oops.
Crazy part about this is the first wave Manosphere 1.0, even though they had their grievances, the first Manosphere was actually started to combat the laws that were against men. In my opinion, the second 2.0 was made in a reference to get money. Every time I hear a majority of these guys talk, it's always from a money standpoint, and there's nothing wrong with getting money, but the value and the money should be joined at the hip. Roger always says it best. I'm helping my people, and I'm also getting money doing it. He holds no qualms about it. He's going to help the people and get money. There's a lot of content creators, they're focused more on the money. That's why they want the subscribers. That's why they want the super chats. That's why they want people in there. Like I said, I just started putting cash app up, and I put my white cash app up there. Because at the end of the day, like, hey, send the money to my wife. I don't know how much you sent. I'm not even gonna answer. She'll tell me like, yeah, somebody sent you some money, this and that. Cool. But the point of reference is, you ain't got to give me a dime. You know, I'm gonna still, do my content. I don't care if it's 2 people. I don't care if it's 10. I don't care if it's one. That's why I changed my name to We Here. You know, that's like my other old channel I have. I still got it. I'm just gonna change the name up to that. That's gonna be on my crazy channel. I'll be putting out my crazy topics and talking about this stuff about the manuscript, because I want to leave that space over there safe for just good vibe content. Give out information about generational wealth. Give out information about family and self-awareness and self-building. That's what's needed. Like I keep saying, I don't want to see these 50 and 60-year-old guys complaining when they get older about, I got to get my life together. That's 30 and 40-year-old talk. 50 and 60-year-old talk is I need to straighten out some things. I need to, put things in better perspective. You 50, 60 years old complaining about getting your life together, man. Come on, man. Like, that's what we doing. Honestly, like honestly, a lot of guys, they channels are horrible. Like, they'll sit here and say one thing, and then 2 months to a year, something later, come back and change. Like, I've literally heard so many content, the major ones, not the little small new channels that everybody keeps saying Johnny come late. No, I'm talking about Johnny been here forever, changing up the content because they see a lane and get money. So don't say, well, these new guys don't know, the old guys as well. They change up the content for the money. I mean, to an extent, everybody complained about Ty City and the way not Ty, but Ramil, how he sold his channel. It's his channel. He sell it the way he wants to. Everybody was complaining about how Sister George bought the channel. She was the only one that wanted the channel. He sent the email out to certain people telling them that he was selling the channel. In which, if I ever see that email and any one of these guys say anything that was in that email, I'm a clown them. I'm like, bro, you can't say nothing. You had the same opportunity to buy it, but now you're crying because a woman in this space bought it and she's changing the dynamics of the space. A lot of guys let this stuff go because they didn't see the benefit of the space. In my opinion, a lot of these guys don't see the benefit of the space, and a lot of guys just using this space to get money. If somebody was to start saying we're gonna do a month values this, or we're gonna start giving out principles and stuff like this, instead of all this talk about the women, I can give 1 week of all women talk. But let's go the other 3 weeks of content showing young guys how to get jobs, showing young guys how to tie. We was talking on another channel, a pastor channel, about having a survivor week. Ty City talked about it one time before too. But I'm like, let's have a whole week where most of us, all we gonna do is just talk about this and content. Let's have a whole week of talking about Survivor, telling people, do you have the essentials, a fire starter, certain things to where you in the issue, like, you in the creek or something, you lost in the woods. Do you know how to, tell directions? Do you know how to use a compass? Stuff like that. It's like the
Shoot,
certain
even
things.
simple stuff. I'll give you an example with this whole mountain of the TV. I went to my toolbox and I realized I didn't have a power drill. So I had to go buy a doggone power drill this weekend because I was like, how am I gonna drill these holes in the wall? And I was asking my cousin for his drill, and he had it, but he had it at a different location. I was like, you know what? All right, I'll wait. And then the next day came and I forgot to go get it from him. So I was like, you know what? Let me just go buy one so I could get this list done.
I got three drills.
But
That was
having
40.
tools, we talk about masculinity and men stuff. Last time I checked, Tim the Two Man Taylor. We should have somebody. Nobody has a channel where, they're reviewing power tools. You know what I mean? Like, that would be cool. Show me some power tools. We've got enough. I don't even see, especially in these spaces. I think the only one who does even a little bit about like cars is Big Truck Series, and he really doesn't do a ton on cars. In terms of like versus what I've seen other content creators who aren't in the black or the man space. Um, they do some serious. I mean, even myself with the financial content, I follow some other financial advisors and stuff who aren't of the diaspora, and it's a world of difference. Now, I understand the reason I do mine the way I do mine is because with our community, you need an entertainment factor. But even still, it's almost hard to do because nobody else around here is doing it. All our military can supply those skills to that group. Yeah, tell me about it, like Barrow. Like about how many? Every time I turn around, there's 10 guys who are military or ex-military. Yet ain't nobody taught me how to use a combat knife. Ain't nobody told me how to tie a naval knot. You know what I mean? But you got it. Go ahead. I don't know if you got anything, Mac. Mac probably watching the kids. You got anything left, she?
Yeah. Also, man, when it comes down to it, I mean, it's crazy in this space that a lot of other people, I'm just gonna say like with the Lafitte Network, how they did that topic the other day, should the black women run the manosphere? Like they're not even in the manosphere, but they're bringing manosphere talking points and bringing like the manosphere viewers over there to try to stir something up. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I said about Kwame Brown. Everybody's talking about Kwame, but he came in this space not knowing anything, and he's keeping at least a minimum 1,500 in a box because he's a celebrity for one. He just got a lane. Same thing with Matt Barnes then doing the Up in Smoke, whatever their podcast about smoking. It's a
Yep.
lot of guys that talk about cannabis, but to the point like legalize cannabis, you in the state legally, you guys should be breaking this stuff down. Like, I mean, honestly, telling people to do, to don't, what cannabis is. You got your medical license, telling people dispensaries, taking trips. That's like Gold P, man. I'm just talking about something he finna get ready to do. It's about to be epic when he changed his channel over. I told him, I said, because, bro, this not it no more. I'm like, that's why I told him I changed my content. You know, it's going to have a balance to kind of keep the attraction of people that want to come over and be entertained. But it's mostly going to be the information because, you got to give some people some entertainment or they ain't going to come.
Right. Yeah, you definitely got to entertain people every once in a blue. So that's understandable. But like I said, I think the evergreen content is where it's at, and just for the simple fact of we do have a lot of folks who are running around with skills and abilities that could overall affect everything that we're speaking of, even in terms of the attitudes of the women, because what will happen is, again, and a lot of guys have said this, even Kevin Samuel said it, when he had his men's weeks, and he was like, if the men get themselves to a certain position, women will fall in line, especially if you're looking at like the high value guy, right? Well, the high value, yeah, if you look at other ethnicities, the valuable guys, the women fall in line, right? Because they're protected and provided for. And again, those guys are generally family oriented, right? So if we can get more family oriented and teach people not to be afraid of the woman so-called running off with your resources, because let's be honest, how often do we hear, well, yeah, but the woman can divorce you and leave with all your stuff? Guess what else could happen? My black ass could have a bad day and decide to come up in your house with a 45 and rob you for all your stuff too.
Yep.
So it's kind of troublesome when I hear that, especially because, again, I got nephews who are consuming this. I have a nephew who's 22, right? He's right in the mix of this. And now he's hearing all this craziness, and it's going to change his mating and dating, which may make his life harder for the future. I'm not saying that having a relationship or lack of, can vastly affect someone's life in terms of just a relationship, negatively, but as people, we're built to be social creatures, so relationships is something that we all seek out.
Can you guys hear me?
I have a trading robot. Only a few guys in here are the ones who look at it.
Yeah, I be over
Yeah.
there on Light Bears.
Say again?
I said I be over there on Light Bears when he does the trading bot. I been over there. I look over there, get into it, see what it's doing. I go bug out somewhere else, come right back, look over there again. I'm always over there. It with him, Dollar Will talking about trading stocks. I'm over there. And these are the guys in the space. Like I look at other guys trading out of the space too. Larry, I think it's like Larry Holmes and Larry Jones or something. I watch
Mm-hmm.
him, but it's like a lot of people. But in this space, I get more.
Oh, the Borgs got you. Go ahead.
Hear me now?
Yeah.
Keep it techy.
Damn, they got him again.
Jeez.
Yep, they got him. The Borgs got him.
Go ahead.
Damn it. Yeah, but see, he definitely. I didn't even know that Light Bear had that, because I'd have been over there all the time, right? And this is actually something that folks was talking about. I'm building a sim company around my bot, but we don't pay attention to this type of stuff unless it's slapstick or really simple. Isn't that the truth? Right? And actually, Walt Diddy was talking about that the other day because he was like, dudes will be crying about the women, and then when we turn around and we say, well, what are y'all building? Y'all ain't got nothing productive going on over there. They'll bring them up. Young investor, how are you, brother?
What's going on, man? What's going on, Zoe?
Doing well, doing well, doing well. So, what say you? What is your feelings as a younger individual who may encounter some of this stuff?
Um, like I said, when I first got into the manosphere, it was mostly because of my upbringing. Like my father, he was like a provider, right? But he really wasn't into my life that much. So I fell victim to the teachings that was initially taught into the manosphere, talking bad about, the women and all these things. And I came to realization that that's part of the problem, but ultimately what I'm looking for, and I think what needs to be talked about more is like solutions, about how men can go about leading, how men can become something of value. Because I think, as the men become something of value and they have that leadership and their characters right along with their assets, they'll be able to get the quality women. And, you won't have to hear all this complaining about women ain't this and women ain't that. So, I'm more in line trying to figure out solutions instead of just hearing the same old talk, all day long. I just want to hear about, how can we increase our value and get our assets up.
Exactly. And this is coming from the youth, right? He's looking how to increase his value, right? And first of all, you're looking sharp, by the way.
Thank you, man. I
But,
just finished the
you
interview,
know,
my brother. Appreciate you.
no doubt, the suit and tie isn't the only way, right? But that's basically what we've told him. Just wear a suit and tie and you'll be all right. I get looked at differently when I'm wearing a suit and tie. Yes, you do.
Yep.
Everybody gets looked at differently when you're wearing a suit and tie because it's associated with certain career paths. However, just like you said, you want other stuff. So stuff like this morning, Gold Professor was talking about simple stuff like keeping your bathroom clean, right? Um, shoot, I'm a smoker, right? Let me tell you how difficult it is to be a smoker and then maintain that look. Because guess what happens when I smoke? The smell transfers to my clothes. So little stuff like that, you have to be cognizant of, right? So now I either got to carry around mints or a throwaway toothbrush and a little bit of cologne because I know I'm gonna go have that cigarette break, and for that little 10 minutes of breathing in and out, now I smell like an ashtray. Right? And that can turn clients off. And Americans are very nice but very mean, right? They're fickle people. So, an American will sit in a dentist chair and see a dentist with a booger hanging out their mouth and let the dentist go over them and do the operating. And then when they leave there, I'm never going back to that dentist. He didn't even know he had a booger in his nose that could have fell in my mouth. Instead of telling him, hey, you could possibly have this booger fall in my mouth. You're going to sit through the uncomfortable experience of possibly having it fall on you. Right? So that's what we have to teach younger individuals like yourself. Don't sit there with your mouth open with a guy with a booger hanging over it. Let's teach you how to say, hey, before you go fiddling around, dude, clean out your nose before you look at my mouth. Right? So one of the things is already you've got your presentation. Two, and this is something that a lot of men probably wish they were told, is things like look ahead. Right? So prime example, obviously I'm a salesman, always be closing. Things like about how old are you? You're in early or late 20s?
I'm only 22.
Oh, so you're in your early 20s, right? So prime example, we talk about things like the power of compound interest. Ask me how many gentlemen your age have I spoken to, and they've been like, oh, I'll wait till I'm in my 40s or 50s for life insurance because they're taught it's a check to die. They're not taught, hey, you can build compound interest in 20 years from now because you put away $50,000 over the course of 20 years. That $50,000 over the course of that 20 years is $120,000. So you actually paid yourself a bunch of money for having this. And hey, if something happens, yeah, somebody you care about will get a bunch of money. But the idea is 20 years from now, you're going to be 42. How many of these guys in this space are 42 and look pretty much like you in the face, except maybe, a little more wrinkles and maybe a patch of gray here or there, right? So 42 ain't old. Now, at 17, 5 years ago, you probably would have thought 42 was old. You might still think 42 is old right now at 22. Let me tell you, once you hit 27, 28, 29, 30, you're going to be like, damn, 42. Well, 12 years goes by really fast. I'll put it to you like this. Think of the last 12 years. How old were you? 10. How different today are you from 10 years ago?
Man, I'm way different. I don't even recognize my old self when I look back.
So, how different 10 years from now do you think you'll be from today?
Way different than I am now.
Exactly. Right. But we'll hope that you've done some growing, right? Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You know, now maybe you do want to be similar because you are very focused. I know you're working on getting that CFP designation. Hopefully, you saw my last video, skills to pay the bills.
I'm gonna watch it.
It's I was actually talking about the industry wants, particularly when you're in the industry for a while, they want you to get credentials and stuff. And so they've been kind of pestering me to get my CFP. um, but CFP costs money, and then I can't freely give information like I do now. For example, JT can't freely give information the way I do. Not that he has to charge for it, but I mean just the way I can just kind of fly off the handle and say whatever I say. He can't do that for fear of somebody hearing it and then going after his license. Right.
Right.
That's why I told you what I told you in the Discord the other day.
Yeah, right. In the chat. I mean, yeah, in the
Yeah.
private message, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've stopped replying to the stock market chat now, about different investments and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it just be careful about giving. And one second, because I want to give you this additional advice, gentlemen. You see what we're doing right now? He's looking to get into the field that I'm in financial services. What am I doing? I'm trying to at least give him a tidbit of information, a little mentorship. Now, in the field that I'm in, that you would consider this creating competition because realistically, he doesn't have to work at the firm I work at. He can go get the license, get all the training, and then come back and take all my clients. And you know what? As a man, as a man's man, I invite the competition because no offense to you, but I'm going to crush him. That's what you should think.
Right. I mean, that's true. I mean, that's true.
Right? Mac, you got anything for the young investor?
My bad. I was just listening to y'all, man. All right. Um, I, I do have something I want to talk about something else real quick about, and it's going off your what you just say. A lot of things that we need to do, and a lot of things that I'm doing now that I didn't do before. Like even though you're mentoring and you want to see somebody come up, that's what we need to do. It's hard to go out here and try to go into something and act. A lot of things we have to do is we have to put our pride aside and our egos away. As me, I'm a manager. I'm a property manager. I manage the property, a couple of properties from New York to Connecticut. I have people under me. I try to give them all the information that they need and the assistance to succeed. Not because I'm afraid that they're going to do a better job and they can probably take my job or whatever. It's because when you do good, I do good. Especially when we're the same color. Now, our backgrounds might not be the same, but for the simple fact that we are the same color, and that we see other people of other ethnicities help and pull each other up. I'm doing that. So if it costs me my job, at least I know somebody else is doing. But I'm secure in myself to know that I'm doing something, and especially for a person, I gotta no I have a person look exactly like you that I was just on the phone with because he called me. He needed help, and he heard what you were saying, Alonzo, and he was like, "Oh, I would love to get on this because he's a notary public. That's his gig outside of working out of
You want send them the link.
out of being an assistant property manager, and the simple fact that you can give people the tools to succeed, you give them the little information that a little what is a little information to you can be a lot to somebody else
True.
and helping them grow. Just planting that seed.
One thing I see, young investor got that blue pen.
Yo,
Hopefully,
you
he
see, yep.
definitely took heed to
Right.
one of the things I said in the past in terms of when you're, especially being black, going for things like loans. Any professional paperwork you should always fill out in blue ink. Um, and that avoids it being looked at as a copy. But if you're going for things like mortgages or large loans, you want to fill it out in blue ink, especially if you're black, so that the underwriters don't get the signal, the subliminal signal to scrutinize the application further. So that's one of the tidbits that I learned in my real estate career. Um, while selling multi-million-dollar properties, it was I was closing on homes with people, and my mortgage banker, midget Mike is what we call him. Um, he those are one of the things he had. So young investor, that's actually great, and I want to do. I'm definitely going to probably try and do this more often. In terms of questions, please shoot those. Have these conversations with gentlemen in your age range, and it's going to be very difficult probably, but start talking about things like retirement, right? I had a guy who was a line member of mine in my lodge, and when we joined, I was 27 and he was 43. And he came to me and he asked me, he was like, "No, I'm sorry, I was 29." And he said, "Do do guys like you and your age range even talk to each other about retirement?" And I was like, "No, I'm not even 30 yet." And he was like, "Well, I'm 43. I wish I was talking about retirement at 29." And I was like, "What? Dude, 43 is so long from now." And now 43 is 4 years away from me. So it's like, I didn't think it was going to be what it was until I got here, right? And I was actually having this conversation with my mother. My mother is 54 years old. She's only 17 years older than me. And she said something that was odd. So I actually manage my mother's retirement account, as well as quite a few others. But obviously, my mother's retirement is near and dear to my heart. And, she doesn't have a substantial amount of money, as you would assume. She has probably about half of what and the average, usually white American her age would have, and that's usually male. But with black females, generally them being single, they end up having to compete with white men, which is not a comfortable position to be in. But so in doing so, in managing her account, we had that conversation, and she said, "I started that job at 37, which is exactly how old I am." And she said 54 came real quick. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that retirement account and I'm like, grasp my pearls. So the time to start is yesterday, right? And I'm sure you're learning that through your classes. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's definitely, um, the small subtleties.
and
But go
that's
ahead, shoot questions, all that talk, open panel, brother. So get whatever you need to get off your chest off.
I was just gonna say, yeah, man, you actually right. So, and that's why I appreciate what you're doing, in the space, getting on here talking about insurance and stuff like that. Because one of the common denominators that I see, around, some people in my family is, they got money to go buy the Gucci purses and the BMWs and stuff like that. But if something was to happen today or tomorrow, then we're gonna be out here on GoFundMe and trying to have barbecue place for sale on the weekends. So I definitely appreciate, all the content you're putting out. And um, part of the reason why I'm going into financial planning now is because there were people in my family who didn't prepare for retirement. I mean, retired with nothing, with $0, not even a penny in the 401k, right? So, those things, hit home. It's very important to be prepared for retirement because, Social Security alone, as I'm learning about Social Security benefits this week, in retirement planning, Social Security alone ain't gonna do it. And then what's gonna end up happening is that you're gonna end up seeing, some of our people back out here door greeters at Walmart making $15 an hour, and those things just to survive. When they was already working 40 and 50 years already. They should have been planning while they was working. And then once they retired, they could do something else. They didn't have to go back out there and work again. So I just wanted to add that.
Well, I think that's beautiful. And I definitely appreciate it. And thank you for allowing me to know that I'm having some form of an impact. Hopefully, I'll be able to help you to and others to have these conversations with their families, especially as and specifically for you being a new financial professional. It's difficult to have this conversation with your family for a multitude of reasons. Number one, you're young. So that's already a strike against you. And you're new in this business, right? But when you're dealing with your own family, there's also the other issue of they don't see you as the professional, they see you as you, right? And this could be I'm your uncle. I done changed your diapers. I'm not gonna uh 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 uh, uh I'm not gonna see you for financial advice. I change diapers, stuff like that.
Right.
Sheet
Felt,
out there on the truck.
yeah, man, I felt left out. Y'all got the cameras on, man. So I turned on my
What's going
camera,
on,
man.
brother?
What's going on? Yeah, that's a tough talk to have, man, with people. Like I said, the old fish fries and now the GoFundMe's.
Hmm.
That's the biggest topic. If you ain't got no money, just beg and ask somebody else for it. Don't work hard. Don't be like the ant that sit there and save and save, save for the winter. Be like the grasshopper. Go and take it. If you can't get it, beg for it. Do whatever you got to do. But Lonzo's right. Saving over time is the key.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. And like I said, having those conversations with your family. Shoot, even if you're not into it, having those conversations with your family can be difficult because nobody wants to have that conversation. But and you said it first. It's funny because nobody wants to talk about the life insurance when I come around and talk to you and say, hey, I sell insurance. I don't want to talk about that. But then the first thing that happens when somebody dies, I hope he had life insurance, right? How
Yep.
many people, Trey? You kind of young, so you might not have heard this, but I know us in our 40s and encroaching our 40s. Sheet, I'm sure you know guys who are in our age range who have died, and the first thing everybody did he have life insurance? I hope he had life insurance. I ain't got nothing to be donating to nobody's funeral.
I done heard that. Yeah, I done heard them before.
You heard that
I heard them before.
exactly. You know why you've heard that? because that's the reality of the situation. That's what ends up happening.
Yep.
You know.
And I mean it's not, like I said, you sell insurance, and insurance not that expensive. Like I think like the insurance that I have right now, I think it's like $20 or $30 or something like that. And it's not bad. It's not that expensive. So, I'm not really understanding, why are our people not getting this, but we got the money to go do the other things, things that don't necessarily add value.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that again comes from actually the financial professional, because we don't teach the proper way to get insured, right? And we've only taught toward death, right? So we haven't taught toward life. Like I said, she's actually one of my clients. He has his son's policies under me, right? His son's policies are not for them to die and leave him money. He wants to die before his sons, right? I'm right about that, Sheed, right? You want to die before your sons.
A little bit of both. I was just like, yeah, mainly for myself. Yeah.
But
If anybody
so
take them
the
out,
idea
hopefully
that,
it's me.
go ahead.
Now I said, if anybody take them out, hopefully it's me than anybody else, because now that's my great grandmother. This is a funny story, real quick. My uncle got real sick, and my great grandmother was telling him that he can't die before her because the kids are supposed to bury the parents. It's not supposed to be the other way around. And lo and behold, it was probably 3 months before he passed. She passed before him 3 months before.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. Go ahead.
That is crazy. But see, so the reason he got his was not to bury the kids. It's so that they have opportunity in the future, right? When they want to go to college, there's going to be money there. If they want to take that money out and use it for college, they can. Or if they want to, another 10 years down the line, take the money out and buy a business, take the money out and put it as a down payment on the house, take the money out and blow it on crypto, whatever it is that they want to do,
So,
they'll have that money there because their father set into place an opportunity for that to happen. What happens, however, especially in our community, is we're not taught right. And we do actually believe in the power of life insurance for passing on generational wealth, but we generally get it wrong. For example, a policy like yours shouldn't be 20, 30 bucks a month. It should be 100 to 200 bucks a month. I can automatically tell you it's not funded properly, right? Because it sounds like it's likely a term policy that you're going to have for the next 20 years. And then when you're 42, it's gone. You're 20 years less healthy and 20 years closer to death. So now it's 20 years more expensive. Also, inflation is going up. So now the price that you would have been locked in 20 years ago in 2022, well, 2042, it's a whole new ball game. So, you know, definitely if you want, I'll review stuff for you. I don't have any problem with that. I may or may not be licensed in your state. It really doesn't matter because I'm licensed in New York, so I can pretty much just go slap my wang on the table and tell them what's your fee, and I am licensed in that
Got
state.
your
That's why
audio
I like being New York as my resident license.
locked.
Yes.
Young investor.
yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear you.
I think it went silent.
Yeah, yeah.
You can hear me, Sheed?
Yeah, I think he went silent.
That's all good. He'll pop back in. Trust me, when he's ready, he'll pop in. Yeah, he got caught by the Borgs.
Yeah, yeah, you're
So
right. Yeah, I'm looking to that. Yeah, because yeah, I learned about term policy in school. Yeah, I don't want term policy. That's for
that's
sure. Because yeah, if
all
something
good.
happened after that term goes, that's pretty much it. Hey, you're not covered. So
Yeah. All right, hold on. Let me do this real quick. She Okay, I saw him. He'll pop back up. He usually he out there doing what men do, working.
Right, instead of being, on the couch.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing. As men, we have to be able to multitask. All right, I think he's back. You back, she? No,
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
they
man,
still
that
got him.
let me see.
It's going
Yeah,
in
there
and
you
out.
go. I think I hear
That's all good. We can hear you.
Am I
we
good
can
now?
hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, my internet, I don't
But
know.
yeah,
Just went over this bridge and this
go,
phone is crazy.
no, go ahead.
But yeah, that was one of my biggest complaints. That's one of my biggest complaints with the manosphere, though, is that, that's, a lot of these guys, they're not solely focusing on, outcomes, you know, um, and like I said, Kevin Samuels is when I first saw Kevin like you, I was like, man, a black brother with a nice suit, he got the tie, got the frames and the fragrances and all that stuff. I'm like, man, this is absolutely cool. I thought Kevin was like, man, that's gonna be my hero right here.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I listened to him, the more he started to, leave from talking to men. He started going more towards the women, right? And so, and like I said, it's good to understand female nature and how human nature works. Like, granted, like that's good, but I'm looking more towards outcomes now, and build becoming something of value. Because as men, we can talk about women all day, but the fact of the matter is, like you said, we got to go out here and compete each and every single day. And if you ain't got no resources, they ain't gonna take. What can they take from you? But if you don't have resources, you're not gonna get the best woman that you can get. You can qualify for. So, and what I see is that a lot of the young guys that are my age, we're trying to build our value. We're at our lowest right now, but some of us are complaining, but we ain't accomplished nothing. We don't have the accomplishments, and we don't have the resources. So look, that's what you're going to attract. Um, but yeah, like they're just not offering any effective solutions, and it's just a cash grab. That's how I look at it. It's just a cash grab.
Oh yeah.
That's all what it is, to be honest. I
All
think
right.
the
Let me
only
see.
guy that
She
I saw in the
back.
space, oh, he's back.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, he's having
So,
connection issues with the being on the road. That happens. Um, so here's part of that young investor that that yeah, this is actually about the Kevin Samuels. If you watch his early shows, when interviewing the men were coming up there embarrassing men. So he did do a favor taking the men's off. Dudes were sounding like boys in their 40s, so it wasn't a good look. What's going on, Lash's journey? So yeah, that was going to be my issue. Especially in our community, here's one of the major issues, right? And I'm sure you're realizing it from dudes who are in your age range. The women are expecting forms of resources.
mhm.
Now, I'm not going to say your particular situation exactly because I understand your father was there, but that's the fault of our fathers. Because if you look at other cultures, right? Other diaspora, well, diaspora would be us only, but if you look at other groups, uh, there's something that is expected from the women as well. And they're expecting the dudes that to be able to pull up in a Chevy Camaro at 16 as well. And the reason is because their daddy has put themselves in a position to for them to have a Camaro. Prime example, Sheed, when his sons are 16, right? Now maybe they won't have all the money for the Camaro, right? But when they're 16 and they're going to school and they see that little girl that they like and she likes the guy who has a Vespa scooter, you know what? I got $7,500. I'm gonna go buy me a Vespa scooter from this life insurance because my daddy set me up for a good situation in the future. He said nothing wrong with a cash grab when content is good. When Alonzo has his wealth brunches, nobody shows up except black women. Black men aren't focused on industry; they're too focused on goofiness. So I had my seventh brunch and wealth last month.
Mhm.
My seventh event from my company. Um, one of the people who was at the prior six and this one is on the panel, which is Sheed. The other person who was at the prior six and the seventh one was Rael. These were the only two gentlemen who have been at every one of my brunch and wealths. When I tell you, young investor, the very first brunch and wealth I had was about real estate and purchasing a home. And when I had first come in here, that's what a lot of guys said they wanted. I want to get me a house. I brought them everything except the house that they wanted to buy. I brought them two insurance agents, property and casualty and life, health, and accidental, so they can insure their home and get a mortgage protection life insurance policy. They can also speak to the mortgage loan originator who was there. There also happened to be a real estate attorney there and a licensed real estate agent who facilitate the transaction. Two men showed up. Now, let me tell you, I was on channels who have more than 7,000 subscribers. Two people.
Mm.
He said over a year, and Sheed and I are the only two men who consistently showed up. You know?
I'm gonna try to catch him, man. He in class, but
Oh, that's all good, bro. I'm not mad at you. You're doing stuff, but you know, and you've only been introduced to one. You were in class during that one that you were
right,
introduced to,
the last one,
right?
correct.
This is over the course of 2 years that we're talking about, or the course of a year. I'm sorry, about a year and a half. And two men short, like, and it's not like I give short notice. I try to give 30 days notice. But Michael says he sees you in the streets a lot. Are you making a channel?
No, I'm just floating around right now, just hopping on different shows and different content creators channel. I am a co-host on the Hungry Millennial Network though, so you can check that channel out, Michael.
Yes, definitely. And I have you wrenched up if you want to go ahead and put that in the chat. Get them
Okay,
some subs up
for
because
sure.
this
Hold on,
is,
let me do that.
yeah, it's one of the things that I promote in some of my hashtags. You know, each one teach one, stay down till you come up. It's a village mentality. You know, I was on actually Anton's show the other day, and I was saying, you know, one of the difficulties, and this is probably why in this space you're having the men do this consistent circle jerk of crying. And the reason is because as a man, even though we're looking for male agency, every man should understand ain't nobody coming to help you,
Oop,
right? Like at all, right? You're a man, so nobody wants to help you, right? That's just the way it is, right? And every other man is going to be looking at you as competition, right? So if you're down and out, then that's less competition for me from you for resources and women, and especially the latter, since that's what most of the guys are here crying about, right? Is you know they're either divesting, they don't want the black women, which I'm like, all right, if you don't want it, stop talking about
right.
it,
No, that's true.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just like, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with who Cynthia G is, but a lot of people, you know,
Mhm.
don't realize she obviously wants a black man, which is why she keeps calling black men trash bag dusties. You know how I know? Because not only is she a divester, but my mother is a divester. She exclusively dates, well, no, she doesn't exclusively date white men. It just tends to be that she's happiest when she's dating a well to do white man, because they treat her differently than most of the brothers that I've chased away. Um, you know, he says, "Young investor, nice. I'm there. Yeah, Mike LG will be there. And the next time y'all in ProPrag go, definitely. See. I saw y'all. I got
Appreciate
that
you, man.
coordinated email and everything. That was nice.
We try to keep professional over there.
Hey, listen, that's what you do, man. Not
We're
mad at
gonna
it at
bring you
all.
up
This is
too, though.
definitely These are things that, especially actually a Hungry Millennial Network, that I think is awesome, and I think that that's a great way for even in, he's a younger millennial. Um, I think he's a few years younger than me. I think he's like 30.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm an older millennial. But these are things that can be passed down and even taught around, right? And you guys even are even maybe a little bit of a better example in the fact that you're networking, and yeah, you're competing against each other, but you're willing to, just like I'm willing to. I want to feed and create my own competition. I want to put you out there and and have you at your best. I'll put it to you like this, and these are my views and my views alone. Young Investor does not particularly feel the same way as me or believe the same way as me. I'm just going to preface that now. But I don't believe in this thing that everybody runs around talking about, which is white supremacy. I don't believe, I think it's called inferiority, because a supremacist, a true supremacist, wants his opponents at their apex best and or with an advantage over him. So when he dominates, he shows his true superiority, right? That's a supremacist. That's what I am. Okay.
Right.
Um, and the supremacists, if we go in the fight, I want to have a toothpick and I want you to have a chainsaw. So when I gouge your eyes out with this toothpick and don't get touched once by that chainsaw, you realize that I'm substantially that much better of a competitor. That's a supremacist. He says, I already talked to my fiance about the two sisters on that wealth brunch. We're going to use those services when the time is right. Oh, you're talking about Rosalind and Barbara. Yeah. You know what? I would, to be honest, I'd go with Rosalind first to find out the entity and then go with Barbara to get the money. But in terms of that, I don't know why I don't promote it more. I do a bunch of stuff that I don't promote. I don't know. It's the life of a salesman. We're weird that way. When we find something that works, we stop doing it. Uh, but I also offer through a company called David Allen Capital business loans up to $25,000 almost instantaneously. I'll put the link in my description one day. Probably not this video, but one day I'll put it in there. So anybody who wants to do that can definitively do so. But since I have you, bro, and it's kind of a mentoring session, definitely, if you want to ask things towards the profession, feel welcome. And I'll tell you, don't be afraid, because I used to say, man, I have a difficulty talking about this investment stuff or this insurance stuff because it's boring. Investment stuff isn't boring, but it is boring when you know what it is, because it's exciting to folks who can't read like a 52-week moving average, right? That's why it's exciting. But then once you're used to it, it's like, oh, I don't even want to deal with this crap. Like I have a friend. Are you familiar with derivatives yet?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. So long story short, I got a buddy who is my next door neighbor. He owns at least 4 brownstones in Brooklyn, and he used to work for Citibank selling derivatives for 11 years. I'll put it to you like this. 2 of his clients, Walmart and Victoria's Secret. So, so, that's it's not easy to get Walmart as a client, right?
Right. That's
And
true.
so, those, and that if anybody asks him, and this is funny, and this goes to you're probably going to hear this, like when I show my card and I tell people I'm a licensed financial professional, they'll ask a question, and it tends to be in lower income Black areas where they're like, well, first of all, they'll say, what do you do? Because they don't know what a financial professional or a financial advisor actually is. They've not been introduced. But also, they'll be like, well, so how many clients do you have? Because they've been taught to ask money managers, etc. And a financial professional can be a money manager, but it does not mean that they are a money manager. So they'll get asked questions like, well, how many clients do you have? Now, a guy like him could say, well, I only have 2 clients, right? And they'd be, oh, get out of here. You ain't even got no clients. Well, one of his clients equates your entire family's net worth times 10, right?
Wow. Yeah, Walmart. Yeah.
Walmart,
That's true. That's
right?
true.
So
Easily.
it's relative. What they mean to ask is, what's your AUM? I'm sure you're familiar with AUM by now.
Assets under management.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's really what they're asking. For example, there's a guy in New York Life who is like a president or a C. Well, not a president, but he's like a really high agent by the name of Gabe Gould. And when I interviewed with him, he was talking about the salary expectations, and he was really like, it depends on the pond that you swim in. And I said, well, why? He was like, well, you can have, uh, you can, and this was right around the time when A-Rod got traded to the Yankees. And so he was like, you can get like A-Rod money. In fact, if you're like me and you get A-Rod as a client, you can make more than A-Rod. And I was like, holy smokes. So, again, this is a guy who says, hey, I only got 2 clients, A-Rod and the Long Island City school system. But those are his 2 clients. But guess what? That's billions of dollars. So again, now if you ask him, well, what's your AUM? That's another story, right? So assets under management is going to be where you're going to get paid, usually you're 1 to 3%, 1 to 2%. Most of the time is 1%. And then it may get smaller. The higher you go, you might get 0.5%, so on and so forth. Sheed, you back.
Yeah,
She.
man, this connection, man. I don't know what's going on right
That's
now.
all good.
It wouldn't even let me come back on YouTube.
Dang.
I had to shut it all the way down. I had to like hit the device care and clean everything up. Trying to
Dang.
get
Yeah, I might have to do the same thing.
yeah.
But so I think, like I said, and I'm coming up on 2 hours. I'm probably gonna close out in a little bit. But I think, conversations like these are very important. And I appreciate you, young investor, for coming up, especially as one of the youths, because now the men in this space have zero excuses, right? This has been seen by enough men to realize, hey, there's young impressionable minds watching you, right? And I don't want you to keep running into that wall. NC worker, what's going on? Hold on. NC worker, you in trouble. Malika said you better call me. or or she told me I got permission to come down near the high point with a high point.
That's North Carolina.
uh, Go ahead, she.
I say that's North Carolina High Point.
Uh-huh. I used to live in Winston-Salem.
You was on the coast.
No kakalaki. So yeah, definitely. But stuff like this, there's no excuse, gentlemen. You see that the youth are looking for guidance and they're not trying to run into that proverbial wall, right? So as men, if we really want to be protectors and providers, if we're seeking the perfection that we're seeking or the positions that we're seeking, one of the things that we do is we do pour into the younger generations, right? For the simple fact that 40 years from now, right? I'm gonna be 70 something years old. Well, 40 years from now, he's 60 something years old. 40 years from now, she's sons are 40 something years old or 50 something years old. Guess who's got to take care of my 75-year-old geriatric ass? Wrinkled. Somebody who's 50 or under. So I want to make sure, hey, you know what? I remember that. Oh, dude, OG was nice to me when I was in my early 20s. You know what? Let me make sure he got an extra prune juice. Right? Especially since
Prune juice, man.
statistics show that men die alone more than women. Right? Prime
Yep.
example, she, like you were saying, with the uncle that got sick. I'm sure everybody was over Big Mama's bed while she was going. But listen, I gotta go see Cousin Lee. I know he's sick, but you know what? I'm gonna wait. I'll go see him tomorrow. And if he dies, all right. Well, last time I saw him, it was good. That's what we think about. when we think about the men. We would come hella high water. We gonna go see Big Mama in the hospital. But cousin Bruce, yeah. Look, man, I love you,
Right.
cousin Bruce. I'll see you at the next cookout. You don't make it, I'll pour out a 40 for you, man. I'm my cousin Bruce. I miss him. But I ain't going to go see cousin Bruce.
You
Right?
sure right.
I want to
That's
hit young
true.
investor over the head with this. All right, so I pay pretty much a car note each month because like I think I said this on one channel before. I was actually going over different things to finance with my wife, and like I was telling her, I said, well, you know, we was making this money, we was able to afford this and that. So I'm like, what's the difference? What's changed? And mainly, my income has went down a little bit because flip flop changing jobs and stuff. But mainly it's due to the money that we bringing in is going towards life insurance, more life insurance now. Which at first it wasn't a lot of life insurance. It was just my policy. Now I have two more policies onto that small one I had. Um, my wife's policy and then my twins' policies. So I'm paying for five policies
Mm.
myself.
Mm.
And I'm gonna say it like this: when I used to get a policy, I would look at me drinking liquor. If I drink, I say, well, let me just put one bottle back, and that's enough for a policy for 1 month. Or like for a woman, don't get your hair done, don't get your hair washed this week. Get it washed once a month, and take that money from the money that you're supposed to wash your hair and get a policy. Well, hold on,
No problem. So yeah,
Mm.
actually that's one of the strategies that I like to use. And this is actually Trey, this is gonna be good for you as well. Um just learning and getting into the business, right? Because I'm not sure what capacity you want to go. I know you were talking about getting your CFP or your CFA. Actually, if you look at Dion Rabowen from the Wall Street Journal, that actually he is my cousin. We're related. I haven't really like physically met him or nothing, but we actually are related, which kind of pisses me off to find that out now because I'm like, so I had a Wall Street pundit in my family, and we weren't being like nepotistic and trading trade secrets and becoming wealthy, like you know what I mean.
Right.
But again, that's our community. Everybody wants to be hyper individualistic. Nobody knows, like for example, I'm writing a book called Get Rich While Dying Trying, right? And one of the things I talk about is generational wealth in families, right? So one of the families I talk about is the Morgans, right? Everybody knows JP Morgan of JP Morgan Chase, but nobody knows Henry Sturgis Morgan of Morgan Stanley. Did you know that Henry Sturgis Morgan of Morgan Stanley is the grandson of JP Morgan of JP Morgan Chase Bank?
Nope. I sure didn't know that. I didn't know that was. I didn't know he was the founder of Morgan Stanley.
Yeah,
To be honest with you.
yeah. I hate that company, by the way. They're racist. And they actually don't like black women. They should be in the manosphere. Because
Man, I had they actually tried to give me a job. So
oh,
they
well,
tried to
here's
send
the
me
problem. My
to
mother-in-law recently
Chicago.
retired from them. What, 2 years ago now. She actually I manage her retirement account as well now. Um, so yeah, my wife's mother retired from them. She worked there for probably about 30 years. They own everyone. E-Trade. I don't think they changed the name of E-Trade, but I think it's E-Trade powered by Morgan Stanley now.
Mhm.
Um, Smith, Barney, Dean Witter, but the way that they treat their minority females is horrible, and they don't pay great.
Mm.
Morgan Stanley does not pay well.
Okay.
You know, I'll put it to you like this: my mother-in-law was there 30 years and never cracked 100K.
What?
Yeah.
Huh.
Now she has colleagues that work there. What they did was they left the company, got
Okay.
100K, and then came back. And obviously, when you come back with a salary over 100K, they're going to match or beat it, especially when you have the skills and abilities that, a lot of people are going to get. But they're working on that, and don't let my bitterness ruin you. If you got the opportunity to get a job, get that bag, bro. Screw the emotions, right? Get that
Right,
bag.
right,
Um, but you'll also want to kind of decide the direction that you want to take your career. Edward Jones. Ugh, I feel that they need to decide who the hell they are. Edward Jones, Raymond Jones, Edward James. When they figure out who the freak they are, I'll tell you about them. They're decent, and I got recruited. Ironically enough, 20 in the 90s, about 25 years ago, my mother got recruited by, and it was I think Raymond James at the time. Um, for they're cool for like small town middle American money, because they have, and this is from the financial professional side, they want you to do what's called door knocking. Okay. They don't want you to buy leads. They don't want you to do stuff like I'm doing, create a YouTube channel to try and generate business. They want you to go knock on the door of everybody in the neighborhood and say, "Hey, I'm a local investment advisor." Look, that worked in 1992. It don't work. It don't work in 2022. I
for
mean,
sure.
it
And
probably will now since everybody's so used to being locked up. Somebody's at my door. Oh my God, come in. But you know, for the most part, I don't know how that works in 2022. Um, and again, it's restrictive. That's why I like being independent. The beauty of independence is, again, I can do stuff like tell you about those companies and the bad side of it, right? If I was beholden to a contract with one of those companies, I couldn't have said that. I couldn't have told you what Morgan Stanley did to one, two, three, like seven African American females that I personally know. One being my mother-in-law, right?
right,
So
right.
I definitely have a craw, for Morgan Stanley. Um, but if, for example, Goldman Sachs is family owned. It was Marcus Goldman who initially started it, by doing business loans, right? And then his son-in-law, I can't remember the first name. I think it's Paul or Peter Sachs, took over, and that's how they became Goldman Sachs,
Mm,
right?
okay.
Little stuff like that. That's again why I'm your fiduciary fellow and the all-star advisor. I'm obsessive about this stuff, bro. That's why I say it's like you got Smush Parker, Lamar Odom, and Kobe Bryant. Bunch of people who get their license are Smush Parker. They just got it, right? And then there's some Lamar Odoms. There's flashes of greatness, but that cocaine gets in the way. And then there's Kobe Bryant, who just breathed the game till the day he died. So that's how that works. Um, but yeah, man, so you want to look out for those kind of pitfalls, and
Yeah, I
see
probably have
what
to.
direction, if you're looking to go into like more sales. Are you looking to do AUM? Are you looking to do advisory and just charge advisory fees? Are you looking to do more analysis behind the scenes, doing like spreadsheets, etc., where you're assisting a financial advisor, but basically like a paralegal? The advisor makes the sale, but you do everything. Uh,
Right.
there's a lot of
I'm
that.
trying to do that.
Um,
Trying to do that.
you said you couldn't do that.
No, I said I ain't trying to do that. I ain't trying
Hey,
to.
trust me, bro. I was just on the line today with the. I was like, look, man, do this math for me. I can't count. Do the math. So we come to find out that my client, I was trying to get him to pay as little as possible. So I needed to get 56K from him. But they were like, well, tell him to just start off with 19,000 and then we'll talk in 4 months. I was like, okay, hey, I got some good news. He was like, what's the good news? We don't need the whole 56,000 right now. Oh, great. I need 19,000 by tomorrow. What? These are the
Oh
conversations you're going to be
man.
having, bro. Um, it's trust me. And this isn't even the trading desk, right? So I'm not even talking about being on the floor or dealing with, and even that, you might want to be on the trading floor. You maybe want to be in the syndicate, and obviously these are other. Well, a lot of that stuff you're not going to want to do because you're getting your CFP, so you're likely going more towards advisory. So you want to know, do you want to? What's your specialization, right? Are you going to be specializing in tax, or are you going to be specializing in, another area? Most of the time, CFPs are specialized in tax and tax optimization. Usually, that's something that accountants get. That's kind of just the way it goes. If you're looking for example, there's another designation from the American College of Financial Services, which is actually you should check that website out. It's the americancollege.edu.
Writing it down now.
And they have another designation, which is CLU, which actually beats the pants off of every other designation, including the CFP. It's just that the CFP is more well known and more commonly known, but that's because again, you're specializing in taxation when you're being a CFP. And then, for example, my cousin Dion Rabowen has his CFA, which basically allows him to say that he's an expert at reading the charts and analyzing them. But both of those designations, in terms of offering or the sales of the product, neither one of those designations actually are in the transaction. So, like, for example, JT will tell you he's never sold a security because he doesn't have to, right? He is getting paid off of the financial advice. Now, it's going to be good advice because he specializes in taxation, right? But it's probably going to be very, very conservative advice because he specializes in taxation. Whereas
Right.
I specialize in insurance as an alternative investment, but insurance, retirement, and investments, right? But then even when it comes to like, especially in this space, bro, I've actually talked to a lot of these men. Um, have you ever seen a fact finder?
A Pathfinder?
A fact finder.
No, no.
You haven't. Give me a second. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna drop the link because I'm gonna hop on my laptop and show you a fact finder
Okay.
really quick. So a fact finder, it's been called a insurance needs analysis. It's yada yada yada. But give me 1 second here. Mute this. Close all this
What is
stuff
it for,
out.
like life insurance or?
Well, it's more than life insurance. It can be used towards life insurance, yes. But it's actually a financial needs analysis. And there's a couple of them. So, 1 second, let me hop on here, stop the camera, enter.
Like the only thing I know about is what they call I think it's the human life value approach or something. But
Human life value, yeah.
that's more to deal with life insurance. So
Yeah. All right. Let me share my screen. Give me 1 second. Let me actually pull this up. Fact finder. Actually, that's gonna be too many emails. Let me just do it like this. SEA and HOSE. There we go. Okay. Open it in a window. And we're gonna share the screen. I'm mad you can hear every mouse click. That is what it is. All right.
it's all good.
So, you know what? Let me do this. I'm mad you can hear every mouse click. Okay. Why is my? It is what it is. Oh, I've got my Facebook. All right. My YouTube going. All right. Mute that. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Cool. You see the screen? So this is a fact. Oh, let me erase the client's name. So this is a fact finder, right? This is literally, like I said, when people come to me, I charge a $300 fee for this, right? So you're literally going to go over your assets and your liabilities, right? So you start off, boom, provided by Alonzo Hall, ADH Wealth Solutions, an affiliate of CG Wealth Solutions Group, LLC. That's our address, boom. You're going to go through the table of contents, right? But I've actually sat down with men in this space and going over this, right? So as you'll see here, what does it say? Planning priorities, protecting families, lifestyle, so on and so forth. But then if you'll go up here, it actually looks at one's assets and one's liabilities, right? So literally, when you're doing a financial needs analysis or a life insurance review, right? Because it says assets, liabilities, and then life insurance. So when I'm doing a review or I'm a life insurance salesperson, I'm going to say, hey, we already take into account, we hope that you do have life insurance. Because when we deal with somebody who doesn't have life insurance, it's a lot harder to make a sale than dealing with somebody who actually already has life insurance. Isn't that ironic?
Right.
But so if you'll see here, we actually want to take a look at a person's assets versus their liabilities. For example, a lot of the guys that I've sat with don't have 100 grand in savings or 180 grand in investments, but they have all this stuff and I got a bunch of money in crypto. Then I ask, well, how much do you have in investments? Nothing. I'll even say, do you have any crypto? Yeah, but that's only like 3 grand. Well, that's not in, what the fuck are you talking about crypto for then? Right? So he owns $1.5 million worth of real estate. And this actually goes back to, and I'm still going to drop the video for y'all. I'll probably do that a little bit later after we get off here. So, and I see what she was saying. And even if you look on like Investopedia, it says outside of the primary residence. But let's be realistic here. First of all, owned real estate. The reason I say excluding owned real estate is because people don't own, like if somebody owns, a multiple $1 million villa or a bunch of real estate, they're likely an accredited investor because their net worth is going to be that high to allow them to afford to have paid off the property. But again, your net worth needs to be $1 million or more. Also, Investopedia says that you have to have an income of now 200,000 or more, but it doesn't explain that 200,000 or more income has to have been consistent. So you have to have had it for 3 of the past 5 years and expected for that income to be continuing in order to pass the accredited investor test. This is why I was explaining to her that a lot of that stuff is made to confuse the shit out of the average bear.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, that makes sense.
Because literally, you can go to Investopedia right now, because that's where I went to go start my article for you guys.
Okay.
Right? And that's literally what it says in Investopedia. It says outside of your primary residence. But think about it. Who do you know who's going to own properties and then be paying a mortgage on their primary residence?
Not many.
If I own other properties, I don't need a mortgage on my primary residence.
Right.
And again, this guy owns a couple of properties, right? But he has 400,000 in mortgages. Now that's a rental property, but again, it's not owned. So the equity is not there. So that's what they mean by excluding owned real estate. Because if it's mortgage, you still technically own it. It's in your name, but you owe money, right? So he's got, $1.7 million worth of assets, but he's also got $500,000 of liabilities. And then he's only got $360,000 worth of life insurance with 2 children. So if he died last night, right, and his children accepted that $360,000, see, people don't realize when you die, your debts don't go away. They do get passed to your next of kin. Now, what happens is most people die with not enough debt to make it worth their while, the company's while for chasing them. But over $500,000 worth of debt they're going to chase your kids, right? This is why when people die with a house and they leave it to the kids, the house either sells in a short sale real quick or it gets foreclosed upon. Those are the 2 things that generally happen. Ask me how I know. I was doing real estate since 2013. That's how.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you talking about a story about that when
Yeah.
the daughter, something ended up happening with the house. The daughter was left the house, and I think they couldn't afford the mortgage payments, right?
Yeah.
You talked about that on the channel before.
Yeah. It's not cheap. You know, it's definitely not cheap. So, I look at things like that, and these are things that have to be broken down to us. But again, you see, you would think, well, he's worth $1 million. He's good. He has no business interests. None of that is personal property. Technically, one of the real estate items is he lives in a multi-family house and rents it out. So technically, the personal property is there. But with the real estate, he only knew of the $400K in mortgage. He didn't know how much the other houses are worth, which lets me know that his cap, he has more than 400 grand in mortgages, or he doesn't own $1.5 million worth of real estate. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
This is why when you have these conversations with people, did you go through something like this before you bought your life insurance?
Uh, no, to be honest, my life insurance has been intact for a long time. Like,
Okay.
my father set it up.
Oh, okay. So that's why it's like $20. Okay. So he
Yeah.
got it for you while you were a juvenile.
Mhm.
Okay. So again, blame your father. No, I'm just kidding. But now you see he's exhibiting manhood, right? These are things that now you're looking, and guess what you're going to do for your kid?
Set it up.
Right? You're going to be like, and especially being in the field, 14 days after your child's born, you're going to put an insurance policy on them. Your wife might be like, what, you think the kid's going to die? No, I'm giving him some money. Right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Getty, what's going on, bro? So the whole idea there is you get the kid papered up while they're a kid, right? And growing at a 2% compound interest rate. Let's do that, in fact. You know what? Hold on. I'm just going to be all the way ratchet and share my whole screen. We're going to do something.
Waiting on this video. Because like I said, yeah, see, I didn't know about this, this side of it, right? Like Investopedia, they don't go into detail.
Yeah, they don't.
What you're saying.
Oh, I got logged off. Hold on. What the heck? That's my check this week. All right. So let's do this. Let's create a new baby. Right? Young. Actually, we're gonna do it like this. Right? And this baby was born, what's today? March 24th. This baby was born we're gonna say they were born on Valentine's Day. All right. And we're just gonna say they're in the state of Connecticut. That's fine. State doesn't really matter at this particular moment. I'm just showing you something to show you something. Because now they're beyond 15 days old. So let's say you get your baby, and like I said, I'm going straight for an index universal life. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna maximum non-met. Let's do a small policy, 250K, right, on a kid, right? Let's say you only want to pay it for 10 years. So we're gonna go to 20 years. So we're gonna go to age 20, right? And to see how much maximum you would put into a policy for a kid from the day they're born till 20. Well, 14 days after they're born till 20. And how much money that would accumulate, right? Now we're maximizing what you're paying into the policy so that you can overfund it, because remember, it's attached to the S&P 500 and it's growing at a 5.7%. Wait, what is it? 5.7? Yeah, at a 5.75% compound interest rate. Now, if you Google Marcus Millichap, aka Goldman Sachs, for a money market account, you're going to get 0.5% interest, or 0.5%, or 50 cents off of $100 every year. You see here, it says Assumed interest rate 5.75%. On a monthly compound interest rate, that means you're going to get $5.75 off of that $100 a month. But more people aren't being taught about life insurance. So now when you're looking at insurance or investments, you want to look at in chunks of generally 20 years, but 10 to 20 years, right? So let's look at this. Over the course of 20 years, you put $30,000 away for your kid, right? But that $30,000 over the course of that 20 years turned into $42,922. Are you familiar with reading an insurance illustration yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. So you've got three columns. You've got your guaranteed policy values. This is for if COVID was real and everybody who had a policy with the company put in a claim at the exact same time. These are what the numbers would be. Okay.
Okay.
Then you have people who are smart ass who will be like, well, what happens if half of the people put a claim in? Again, that's why they have the guaranteed, but they also have the alternate scale, non-guaranteed, which is 2% less than whatever the current interest rate is. So this is if there is a market slip or a market correction, right? Because the way that an index universal life works, it's attached to the S&P 500, but it's better than like an ETF and an index, right? An ETF and an index, when it goes up, that index goes up, your money goes up. But what happens when that index goes down? Your money goes down. The beauty of an index universal life insurance policy is it has a 0% floor, right? So if the S&P goes up, your money goes up. But if the S&P goes down, your money can't go below 0. So you can't lose anything. Your money just levels.
Okay.
Right.
So this is an IUL, right? Okay.
Right. And it's a fixed product. Right. So you see here, boom, you put 29,472 in your cash value, and you'll see here you have net account value and cash surrender value. Right. Again, your alternate policy values is, what will happen on a downturn. The non-guaranteed policy values is what's happening today. The reason it's non-guaranteed is when's the last time somebody guaranteed you what the stock market was going to do? Oh, a Ponzi scheme. Okay.
Right.
Well, because we're not a Ponzi scheme, we can't guarantee what the stock market is going to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So, again, year one. Now, I'm going to show you this in a couple of different facets because I'm going to show you why people like Dave Ramsey and Sue Zorman will say don't get cash value life insurance, right? So we're going to do this like this. Right? We're going to do minimum. Right? And I want you to see the difference. Now, the only thing I changed was the premium that went into there. Now, if you'll notice, I did maximum non-modified endowment contract for a $250,000 death benefit. It's $122.80, right? But you'll see year one, there's net account value, meaning if you want to borrow against it, you paid $1,474 throughout the year, but you can borrow against $995. Now, if you cancel the policy, you don't get any money back. But if you borrow against, you get $995. So technically, if we do the math, right? $1,474. Why is my calculator going so slow? Why is my computer going so slow? $1,474 minus $995. So you have this $995 liquid. So did you actually pay $1,474 or did you pay $479?
No, you
If
paid,
you have,
no, you paid this.
you paid $479.
Right.
Well, no, I paid $1,474. I paid $122.80 a month for 12 months. Well, yeah, but you have the ability to borrow against $995, so you only paid $479, sir.
Right.
So let's go a little further, right? Because again, when I look at insurance, I look at it as investment, and I look at it in a 10-year chunk. So it says after 10 years, you pay $14,736, right?
Mm-hmm.
Math, 14736 minus. Let's look at the surrender value. So we're not even going to look at what you have to borrow against. We're going to look at if you cash out. So that's 13,541. Right? And this is simple math. This isn't, so you really paid $1,195.
Yep.
Right? So if I divide 1,195 by 10, You paid $119 a year for this policy for your baby. $119 a year, and when he's 10, he's got $13,000 to borrow against, or to cash out and get. I'm sorry, but again, you're 22, right?
Right.
So your pop put this away for you at 20 at birth. So here we go. Now, I also set this up so that you're only paying it for 20 years. If you'll notice, after year 20, there's all these zeros. You have to have an agent who knows what they're doing to set it up this way for you. So 20 years, you've paid $29,472 into the policy, right? So 29,472, right? But then you've got $42,922 if you cash out. 42,922. So you paid negative $13,450. Wait, so they paid you $13,000 for having a life insurance policy? Is that what the math says? That's what the math says.
Yeah.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. That's what the math says. But less people are educated about this, right? They want to go into investing, and unfortunately, investing is speculative and dangerous, depending on where you are, right? Nothing wrong with investing. This is an investment, but they go to a speculative investment. Now, this illustration here is the exact same thing. Also, and you can write this down, amortization schedule.
Oh, yeah, I know about that.
Okay, so just so you know, this is an amortization schedule. It's just amortizing what you're going to be paid from your own money, going to the life insurance policy, that if you die, people get a bunch of money, but if you live, right, at 22, if your father would have set something up like this for you 14 days out, right now you'd have access to $48,000.
Yep. Right.
How's that sound?
Now I see. Okay.
For the exact same policy, I have it set up where, again, he's only paying for 20 years, but if you'll notice, it's only $55 a month. Same death benefit, same young investor, same age, right? You'll notice the cash value isn't good. This is what Dave Ramsey and Sue Zorman illustrate, right? This is a minimum premium. So it makes it so the policy falls apart and it's no good for you, right? But here's the ill part. Even if you do it like this and set it up, because it's an index universal and power compound interest, so over 20 years, yeah, you pay into it $13,000, but then by year 30, right, you got $22,000. So he put away $13,000 over the course of 20 years, which, if we do math, $13,000, right, divided by 20. So he put away $650 a year for you. That will get you $13,000. Or putting away $650 a year would get you $22,000 if you put in a right life insurance policy. Which would you rather have? Putting away $650 a year to get $13,000, or putting away $650 a year to get almost $10,000 more?
I need the $22,000. That's a no-brainer right there.
Right. It's not taught to you like this.
I'm sure. I showed them. They don't even teach it like this in school.
They don't. You said they don't teach it like this in school?
No, they don't. No, they don't show this in school. What you showing me right here?
They don't know this in school.
Man.
That's worse, right? Let's go a little further, right? Let's just go a little bit further. So I'm gonna do this again, right? I just want to do one more thing. Now, all you saw me do was click a couple buttons, right? But I didn't change anything pertinent,
right?
I just want to show you, and this is why I do what I do, and this is why I charge what I charge for what I do. Like you said, bro, they're not even teaching this in collegiate courses.
So ain't. It's not even a textbook.
It's not. So be waiting for that video, bro. Like I said, when we're done here, I'm probably gonna do that video.
Okay.
Now,
yeah, I'll be watching it tonight.
This one, right? Now these are all the same, but if you'll notice, the monthly premium is vastly different, right? This first one, which I said was beneficial, it's $122 a month. This is also why when people say, well, how much is $100,000 life insurance? I don't know. Because it's very different. This person is age 0 at $122 a month, or age 0 at $55 a month, or age 0 at $385 a month. But if you'll notice, that death benefit has stayed 250,000, 250,000, 250,000. Right? Peep this. Now, in this one, at least year 3, you get some cash surrender value, right? In this one, you pay $4,600 a year, but your first year you've already got account value of $4,000. So basically, you paid $607, and you got a surrender value of $1,553. Now, you over the course of 10 years paid $46,000 into that policy, right? But your son at 10 years old now has access to $54,030, and if you cancel it, you got him $53,717. Let's do the math. 46,214 subtract 53,717. That's, oh shoot, wait. 46,214, right? Minus 5,317. So that's negative $7,500. You paid negative $7,500 over the course of 10 years for life insurance.
Right.
Wait, how can I pay negative? So that means if I'm paying negative dollars, that means I'm being paid. So I got paid $7,500 for making sure that my life insurance was good. Let's go to 20 years. So 20 years, you've paid $92,429. So basically, over the course of 20 years, you basically has $5,000 a year to equate to $100,000, right? Mm-hmm. Over the course of 20 years. But if you cash out, you got $157,000 coming to you. So let's just do math one last time, and then I'll close out. 92,429. Subtract 157,603. So you got paid $65,000 over the course of 20 years. $65,000. So if I divide 65K, 65 divided by 20. So $3,200 a year. You basically you got your son $3,200 a year for no reason, for just living. Wicked, right?
Damn, that's crazy.
Wicked. Life insurance is an alternative investment. The wealthy don't want you to know that. Right? And do you think it behooves a financial advisor to tell you this? Or do you think it behooves a financial advisor to say, get an investment so I can charge you 2 and 20 fees? Don't worry about insurance. Get an investment product. Invest in the stock market. It's volatile, but it's sexy because it goes up and down. All this is an amortization schedule is absolutely what's going to happen, right? So if you look at this, again, a life insurance illustration is an amortization schedule. So the only if is if you don't pay your premium, this doesn't happen. But nothing else stops this from happening but you not putting in your investment. Right? What Elon Musk tweets doesn't change this. When we go to war, this doesn't change. Guess what does? Every speculative market. Guess what else changes? The real estate market. Again, they don't even teach you this in school. That blew my mind right there. I ain't even gonna hold you. He was like, they ain't even teach me this in school. What?
No, they never showed this. Not this amortization. They never showed this. Yeah. Like, they don't show this in school.
Yeah. But at least you know what it is.
Right. Yeah. I know what the amortization schedule is. Yeah.
Oh, no, they definitely gonna teach you an amortization schedule because they want you all in debt.
That right.
Right? They wouldn't show you that because you'd be out of debt if you did this.
Right.
Right?
I'm glad
You
I
know
ain't
what?
in
I
there
need to
right
partner
now.
up with Savings Minus Debt and just start throwing negative numbers. Because people get confused when they see those negative numbers. Right?
Right.
Well, this literally said you paid negative 65,000. Right?
Mhm.
The numbers are right there. Like, I mean, yes, I made it up, but it's not something that I made up. You know what I mean? So this is flat out this. Right? And this is live time right in front of your face, obviously, because I don't think anybody named their child Young or their last name is Investor. So,
Right.
you know, well, somebody might have named their child Young, but I don't think anybody's last name is Investor. Right?
Right.
But look at the vast difference for the same $250,000 life insurance policy. Now, again, there's some nuances. There's some things that I did that change that, and you have to know what you're doing in order to do that. But it is what it is. So, with that being said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Let's see. And, oh, Toya the Tutor in the building. Salute. Oh my God, Dave just dropped something on ESOPs. Toya in the building. So, you know, like I said, in this space, I want to be able to educate men and to teach young men, you know, the options that are available to them, the things that they may can do to correct and build themselves, and even little things like mentorship. Right? I just gave you a school. I'm gonna need to charge you that $36,000 tuition.
Hey man, this is more worth it than what they telling you.
Right?
I never saw that a day in my life at school.
Yeah. Well,
I'm about to
now
go
you
take a look.
have. Right? And that's not even my investment software. That's just life insurance illustrations, right? Then you've got things like AIC, which is Emeritus Investment Corporation. Man, when you look at that stuff is confusing. I'll be honest. Which is why we use support desk, and I call them up and say, "Look, I'm not trying to lose this $56,000. Help me before this guy gets pissed off." And then they run the numbers, and then I call him back, and I'm like, "Look, 56 grand." He's like, "I don't want to pay 56 grand." Okay, look, 21 grand. Nope. All right, 19 grand. So we. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be getting cut a check of $19,087.89. That's a very specific number. But I've been doing phone work all day to try and get that 19 bands. And listen, I don't know many dudes from where I come from who can make $19,000 on a phone call.
I don't know many either.
Right. So, you know, though that doesn't go to my pocket, but still, you know, it goes to the company. And then I get, you know, my small percentage. And then, you know, you'll also want to look at, in terms of that type of stuff, what you do want to specialize in. Take a look at a couple of things. I want you to take a look at the CAAFP, which is the Conference of African American Financial Professionals.
You said the CAAFP?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
They're affiliated with the American College of Financial Services. So when you go there, you'll see CAFP. What else is there? Quad A, which is AAAA, which is the Association of African American Advisors. And JT actually speaks of Quad A as well. I believe he's a member.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously quadruple A, but it's AAAA, African American Association of Financial Advisors. I think those are some places. Check out the MDRT too, $1 Million Round Table.
Okay.
Those are the top 1% elite financial professionals in 75 countries. So you'll hear companies like, and you have to be careful, especially because there are people who get licensure like you, and then they go and they waste their talent at Primerica. And I don't mean to bash the company, but their training is lackluster, and it's not going to lead anybody to financial stability. Prime example, that's the reason that MetLife is no longer called MetLife. They're called Bright House Financial. They got in trouble for it. Well, they had to split, and they had to sell their life and annuities to Bright House Financial because MetLife got in trouble for being in bed as MetLife investors with Citibank, which was Prime America. Prime America came out in the late 70s with I think it's A.L. Horton. So you don't want to waste your talent going there. But, because people with these companies, Family First Life, People Helping People, World Financial Group, which is Transamerica, and Prime America. Prime America being the most, they're like the military. They just go to the poor high schools and recruit. But the problem with it is they'll even get people who have, ironically enough, like one of the ladies that was on my last Brunch and Wealth is also a Primerican. And I'm like, she's a Primerican agent. That's terrible because all they do is say buy term and invest the difference. Unfortunately, how many people do you think invest the difference?
It's very minute, very small.
Very, very small.
Very, very small.
Right? So most people just buy term and forget the difference. And that's kind of what they prey upon. I love Primericans because I replace their policies left and right. And then their investment products, they have shitty mutual funds, right? Now, again, don't ever talk like this about companies. It's very unprofessional. It's really unbecoming of me. And that's another reason why I don't want to get certain designations, because I can talk freely, right? I can give people kind of the real raw deal. And if I hold certain credentials, I can't do that anymore because they'll take my credentials, right? Because what I just did in speaking negative about the companies could technically cause harm. For example, somebody listening may want to do business with Primerica, which is completely and totally up to them. And one more disclaimer, just because I was talking junk about the company does not matter. It doesn't matter what company a financial professional is with. What matters is, hold on right quick. What matters is the skills and abilities of the financial professional, and if they have your best interest at heart. But with that, I'm almost at 3 hours. So, any last words?
No, man. I was gonna say I appreciate you for bringing me up, and I appreciate you for taking out your time to explain all this to me.
Not a problem, man. The way I look at it is this: we want what we call qualified and competent clients, right? My whole goal is I like to educate my clients so much so that they don't need me, except on the point of sale. And I found that when I do that, I have people who will literally like find me to give me their bid. Like I had a guy who, when I was living in Brooklyn, I was at an Allstate. And ironically enough, his mom had a policy with MetLife. I did some reviewing of it for him. And he was like, yo, I got to have you, sit with my mother, da, 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 da. And I had left the agency. And when I left the agency, he went back there. He went to the owner of the agency and was like, bro, I need that guy's number. I want to get some life insurance. And he was like, oh, we got it. And then he was like, no, I want him. So he got my number. The dude literally drove to my house, picked me up in his Mercedes Benz, drove me back to his mother's house in Canarsie. If you're familiar with Brooklyn, we know Canarssie's way out the way, right? And so he drove me to his mother's house in Canarsie and had me review her policy, and then drove me back home and bought me lunch.
Damn.
It was because the information I gave him, he was like, nobody else seemed to like give a damn. And you just like, I guess kind of like you said, I just told you more than your damn school that you're paying, a $36,000 annual tuition to.
Hey,
Right?
please. Right.
So don't worry, I'll send the bill in the mail. No.
Worry
Man,
not. Here's how I ask for recompense. Pay it forward.
I got you.
Right?
And I'm gonna tap in with you offline because, like I said, I don't want to be saying too much online. I want to talk to you a little bit about some companies. I'm kind of hesitant on some of these companies, but we'll talk about it offline.
All right,
Sure.
stay here. I'm about to end this.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth, to purchase life insurance directly up to $1 million with an instant decision and no medical exam, or to schedule a one-on-one appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description. With that being said, wipe ass, work in progress every day and see success. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, when people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. Salute, salute, salute.